I am go I am going to start off the video by performing hand hygiene. I'm going to turn on the faucet to make sure that the water is not too hot or too cold. And I'm going to wet my hands and my wrists. Then I'm going to apply 3 to 5 milliliters of antiseptic soap. I'm going to wash my hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds. Then I'm going to use a paper towel to dry my hands. I'm discard it, and I'm going to use this paper towel to turn off the faucet, making sure my hands are not touching the faucet. Now I am going to talk about PPE, which stands for Personal Protective Equipment. Before a nurse enters an isolation room, his or her choice of barrier equipment will depend on the type of isolation that the patient has been prescribed. For example, in a situation where all barriers are needed, this is the following order that the nurse will follow to put on the equipment. First is the gown. He or she has to make sure that it covers all the garments. Second is the mask or a fitted respirator. Third is eyewear or goggles. And last is clean gloves. When the nurse is ready to leave the patient's room, it is very important to know how to remove the equipment. Gloves should be removed first, then eyewear, then gown, and lastly is the mask. Pay attention. For patients who are under airborne precautions, masks should be removed outside the patient's room for your protection. There are different types of precautions. The first one is standard precautions. Standard precautions apply to all body fluids, non-intact skin, and mucous membranes. A nurse should implement standard precautions for all clients. The next one is airborne precautions. Airborne precautions are used to protect against droplet infections smaller than 5 micrograms, such as measles, varicella, or TB. Airborne precautions require a private room, masks or respiratory protection devices for caregivers and visitors. Use an N95 respirator if the client is suspected to have TB. A negative pressure room. If spraying or splashing is a possibility, wear full face protection. Droplet precautions. Protect against droplets larger than 5 micrograms and travel 3 to 6 feet from the client, such as scarlet fever, mumps, pertussis, mycoplasma pneumonia, and etc. Droplet precautions require a private room or room with other patients who have the same infectious disease. Make sure that the clients have their own equipment. Masks for providers and visitors. Contact precautions protect visitors and providers when they are within 3 feet of the client against direct client and environmental contact infections such as enteric diseases caused by microorganisms, wound infection, multi-drug resistant organisms, herpes simplex, impetigo, and scabies. Contact precautions require a private room or a room with other clients who have the same infection. Gloves and gowns worn by providers and visitors. Disposal of infectious dressing material into a single, non-porous bag without touching the outside of the bag. Lastly, protective environment is used to protect clients who are immunocompromised, such as those who have had a stem cell transplant. A protective environment requires a private room, positive airflow, 12 or more air exchanges per hour, HEPA filtration for incoming air, and mask for the client when outside of the room.